Hello everybody and welcome back to SFF180. Thomas here, your host as always, and it is time for the Mailbag. May the 29th and it's Memorial Day, so I hope you all are having a lovely holiday 3-day weekend. If you are one of my viewers who has served in the armed forces, thank you very much for your service on this Memorial Day. Alright, got a lot to get through today. Remember, I went to the Nebula conference in Pittsburgh last weekend. Had a lovely time. You may watch my adventures in Pittsburgh right here on this channel. But I have quite a bit of stuff. I've got a full week and a half worth of packages to get through. It's a tiny mountain. But I also am going to show you some of the books that I got at the Nebula conference, which were part of the freebie goodie bag that they give all of the attendees, which is a very exciting, fun perk that they provide at the Nebula conference. I'm not going to show you everything because not all of it is like really new stuff, and some of it's duplicates, and I got a couple of copies of things I already had, you know, to give to my local library and stuff like that. But I'm still going to show you a hell of a 15 items or something like that. So get a drink, get a comfy pillow, and tuck in, because this is going to be a pretty epic mailbag, I think. So, starting out with some of the Nebula Conference freebies, this one is one I'm actually really excited about, and I have in fact started reading it. I'm about 72 pages in. This is a book called The Tiger's Daughter. That's the title is that right there. The Tiger's Daughter, it's a debut novel. The author is K. Arsenault Rivera, and this is coming out in October from Tor Books, and it is a sort of historical epic fantasy, very much along the lines of the kind of book Guy Gavriel Kay fan might enjoy, except you have these, I guess, these two women protagonists here. One is the princess of a kingdom that, you know, represents China at a particular dynasty in the past, and then her girlfriend, you might say, who is I guess a horse lord warrior type, and her people, I guess, are maybe analogous to the Mongols or something like that, and I guess they end up having to take on a demigod or sort of a deity creature together, but they are also in love, and so it's basically Guy Gavriel Kay with lesbian warriors, and booyah. But anyway, the point is, it's really starting out beautifully. The writing, the prose is very elegant, and the attention to character and detail, the way it's all just sort of unfolding and the way Rivera is building the world, so far is getting off to quite a promising start. So I'll be reviewing this one, you know, in advance of its release, not too far in advance, but I can say it's starting very promisingly, so I'm very eager to see how it pans out. But it's called The Tiger's Daughter, and it is out in October. And next up is a Tor arc for a September release. This is a science fiction novel by Annalee Newitz. It's called Autonomous. When anything can be owned, how can we be free? Autonomous takes an exciting plot with vibrant character, blah, 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 blah. All right, this is just Liz Gorinsky, the editor, telling us how excited she is about the book, but it's not telling us much about the book. But anyway, I imagine robots and technology, and something that Neil Stephenson and William Gibson seem to think very highly of, so I guess it's that kind of SF. You know, near future having to do with technology, and so it will be out in September from Tor. And next up is an epic fantasy that's kind of new to me, but apparently it's been getting some buzz in certain circles. The author is Ed McDonald. It's a book called Blackwing. It is the first book in something called The Raven's Mark. As you see, this is coming out October 3rd from Ace Books, and it says, I can read it like that and still show you the thing. Good. A gritty fantasy debut about a man's desperate battle to survive his own dark destiny. The Misery is a vast and blighted expanse. Now there you go. You know you have a grimdark book when the name of the land it all takes place in is called Misery. Radiola. The Remnant. There it is, Thomas. Of a devastating war with immortals known as the Deep Kings. The war ended a century ago, and the enemy is kept at bay by the existence of the Engine, a terrible weapon that protects the Misery's border. Across the corrupted no-man's land, the Deep Kings and their armies bide their time watching and waiting. A bounty hunter, Ryholt Galharrow, has breathed misery dust for 20 years. When he stumbles onto a web of conspiracy that threatens to end the fragile peace the Engine has provided, he is not ready for the truth about the blood he spilled or the gods he's supposed to serve. So Blackwing sounds like it's, probably a very tense and action-packed epic fantasy, grimdark fantasy debut, October the 4th by Ed McDonald. And this is an arc for a new fantasy novel from Del Rey, comes out June 27th. I will probably get this in regular mail because I just get Del Rey arcs on the regular. So I'll probably see this again, but it's called The Waking Land. The author is Callie Bates, and it is as follows. Here we are. Lady Ilana is devoted to the king who raised her like a daughter, but when he dies under mysterious circumstances, Ilana is accused of his murder and must flee for her life. Returning to the homeland of magical legends she has forsaken, Ilana is forced to reckon with her estranged father, branded a traitor long ago. Feeling a strange deep connection to the natural world, she must also face the truth about forces she has always disdained as superstition, powers that suddenly stir within her. So she's gaining magical powers, apparently. But an all-too-human threat is drawing near. Now Ilana has no choice but to lead a rebellion against the kingdom to which she once gave her allegiance. Trapped between divided loyalties, she must summon the courage to confront a destiny that could tear her apart. Okay then, and apparently they're pitching this as being the sort of thing that would appeal to Naomi Novik fans and folks like that. But June 27th, The Waking Land by Callie Bates. And moving on with the Nebula freebies, there were quite a few arcs for some YA stuff, which was nice to see. I don't really get a whole heck of a lot of YA from publishers. So this is a good opportunity for me to get some of these. But this is something called The Suffering Tree. The author is L. Cosimano. I'm going to guess that's the pronunciation. Let's see what all this is about. This is a June release from Hyperion. Oh boy, it's a lot of synopsis here, so let's just go. Tori Burns and her family left D.C. for claustrophobic Chaptico, Maryland, after suddenly inheriting a house under mysterious circumstances. That inheritance puts her at odds with the entire town, especially Jesse Slaughter and his family. It's their generation's old land the Burnses have quote-unquote stolen. But none of that seems to matter after Tori witnesses a young man claw his way out of a grave under the gnarled oak in her new backyard. Cool, okay. Nathaniel Bishop may not understand what brought him back, but it's clear to Tori that he hates the Slaughters for what they did to him centuries ago. Also, we have a vengeful zombie. Cool. Wary yet drawn to him by a shared sense of loss, she gives him shelter. But in the wake of his arrival comes a string of troubling events, including the disappearance of Jesse Slaughter's cousin that seem to point back to Nathaniel. As Tori digs for the truth and slowly begins to fall for... Oh, don't do this. Slowly... Why? Why does there always have to be the obligatory romance in YA? Why? Anyway, slowly begins to fall for the zombie guy she witnessed crawling out of the ground, because that's a thing, teenage girls do. She uncovers something much darker in the tangled branches of the Slaughter family tree. In order to break the centuries-old curse that binds Nathaniel there and discover the true nature of her inheritance, Tori must unravel the Slaughter family's oldest and most guarded secrets. But the Slaughters want to keep them buried at any cost. Okay, so sounds like something that has some promise to it, if only the author, could have resisted the urge to just, check off the expected tropes of YA. But anyway, still, zombies are cool. Vengeful zombies are kind of cool. But The Suffering Tree is a June title by L. Cosimano. And this is an August release. It's Philip Reeves' Black Light Express. This is a sequel to his book Railhead, which I've had forever, and I really want to read because it was a Norton finalist for young adult, and apparently it's this maybe kind of, I don't want to say steampunky, but it's very much like gear punk, I think, or whatever. Anyway, you ride trains through space, I think, is the general idea behind this. And Blacklight Express is the sequel coming in August, so probably a good opportunity for me to read Railhead. Now here is one that I think I could probably get behind. Very cool looking YA concept. The author is F.C. Yee. This is a book coming out in August from Amulet. It is called The Epic Crush of Jeannie Lo, and it looks to be like a superhero saga of some sort. It says, she excels at standardized tests and annihilating the bad guys. Jeannie Lo is one among droves of Ivy-hopeful overachievers in her sleepy Bay Area suburb. The type who wins. When she's not crushing it at volleyball or hitting the books, Jeannie is typically working on how to crack the elusive Harvard entry code. But when her hometown comes under siege from Hellspawn, straight out of Chinese folklore, her priorities are suddenly and forcefully rearranged. I imagine they are. Enter Quentin Sun, a mysterious new kid in class who... See, the mysterious new kid. the mystery boy, who becomes Jeannie's self-appointed guide to battling demons, while Jeannie knows Quentin only as an attractive transfer student with an oddly formal command of the English language. In another reality, he is Sun Wukong, the mythological Monkey King incarnate, right down to the furry tail and penchant for peaches. Okay, I'm going for this. This is like, Buffy sort of meets Choi Hark, right? With teenagers. I like that. All right. Suddenly, acing the SATs is the least of Jeannie's worries. The fates of her friends, family, and the entire Bay Area all depend on her summoning an inner power that Quentin assures her is strong enough to level the very gates of heaven. But every second Jeannie spends tapping into the secret of her true nature is a second in which the lives of her loved ones hang in the balance. All right. This one sounds like it could be a hoot. Really does. But the epic crush of Jeannie Lo is available in August from Amulet. Moving on down the pile, this shininess. Okay, this is a book called Jane Unlimited. It's the new book by Kristen Cashore, who wrote that trilogy of Graceling trilogy, Graceling and Fire and Bitter Blue. So Jane Unlimited comes out in September. And let's see what it's all about. Can I hold it and read it and make sense of it? Maybe I can. After the loss of her beloved guardian aunt, Jane receives an unexpected invitation from an old acquaintance, inviting her to an extravagant island mansion called Two Rivières. It's an invitation her aunt made her promise never to turn down, though as far as Jane knows, her aunt never set foot on that island. At Two Rivières, Jane will have 5 choices that could ultimately determine the course of her newly untethered life, and every choice comes with a price. They always do. She might fall in love, she might lose her life, she might solve a mystery, she might find her calling, she might come face to face with herself. At Two Rivières, anything is possible. So, I guess all a metaphor for coming of age, as it were. But Jane Unlimited will be available in September for Kristen Cashore fans. And trucking on down the list, this is a book, another one from Amulet. This comes out in September. It's called Odd and True. The author is Kat Winters. And see, I have a couple of chicks right there who appear to mean business. Let's see what they're all about. Master of Magical Historical Fiction, they say Kat Winters is. Let's see. Trude Chen, Trudchen, grew up hearing Odette's stories of a monster slaying and a magician's curse. But now that True's older, she's starting to wonder if her older sister's tales were just comforting lies, especially because there's nothing fantastic about her own life, permanently injured and in constant pain from an accident. Okay, so you have a disabled protagonist here. In 1909, after a 2-year absence, Odd reappears with a suitcase full of weapons and a promise to rescue True from the monsters on their way to attack her. But it's Odd who seems haunted by something, and when the sisters search for their mother, leads them to a face-off with the Leeds Devil, a nightmarish beast that's wreaking havoc in the mid-Atlantic states. True discovers the peculiar possibility that she and her sister, despite their dark pasts and ordinary appearances, might indeed have magic after all. Okay, this is saying age 12 and up, so this might be, this looks more middle grade than YA, but Odd and True, fighting demons. And then coming up next we have Now I Rise, which is the sequel to And I Darken, the author Kirsten White, And I Darken, which I've had for forever, and I read like the first chapter of it, and I kind of liked it. It felt like it was going to be highly entertaining trash. And I mean that in a good way. But the concept here is, what if Vlad the Impaler, Vlad Tepes, were a woman? And it just goes through that history. So Now I Rise, I guess, is the sequel following female Vlad's Vlad Tepes ways, Lady Dracul, as it were. And this is available June 27th. And next up here is one that a lot of folks are looking forward to. This is going to be out on September 12th. This is Daniel Jose Older's Shadow House Fall, the sequel to Shadow Shaper, which is a very highly regarded YA fantasy from last year. And so, yeah, don't really want to give away too much of this, but as you see, early days yet, but it will be out if you're a fan of Shadow Shaper, and I know that one was a Norton finalist and all the rest of it, very highly regarded. This will be out September the 12th. Again, probably my chance to read them now. And next up, we have a book, again, a YA. The author is Andrew Schwartz, and this is called Royal Bastards. And it sounds very much like he's trying to be YA Scott Lynch with this one. It says it comes out June. I don't know if I said that, but if I did, I've now said it twice. So you have no excuse not knowing. Being a bastard blows. Tilla would know her father, Lord Kent of the Western Province, loved her as a child, but cast her aside as soon as he had true-born children. At 16, Tilla spends her days exploring long-forgotten tunnels beneath the castle with her stable-hand half-brother, Jax, and her nights drinking with the servants, passing out on Jax's floor while her castle bedroom collects dust. Tilla secretly longs to sit by her father's side, resplendent in a sparkling gown, enjoying feasts with the rest of the family. Why? She sounds like she's having more fun already. Instead, she sits with the other bastards, like Miles of House Hempstead, an awkward scholar who's been in love with Tilla since they were children. Then, at a feast honoring the visiting Princess Liriana, the royal shocks everyone by choosing to sit at the bastard's table. Before she knows it, Tilla is leading the sheltered princess on a late-night escapade. Along with Jax, Miles, and fellow bastard Zell, a Zatoichi warrior from the north, they stumble upon a crime they were never meant to witness. Okay. Rebellion is brewing in the west, and a brutal coup leaves Liriana's uncle, the royal archmagus, dead, with Liriana next on the list. Uh-oh. The group flees for their lives, relentlessly pursued by murderous mercenaries. Their own parents have put a price on their heads to prevent the king and his powerful royal mages from discovering their treachery. Well, I think that this blurb is being massively spoilerific about this one, guys. Anyway, well, we've gone this far. The bastards band together, realizing they alone have the power to prevent a civil war that will tear their kingdom apart if they can warn the king in time, and if they can survive the journey. And it's all in a day's work for Royal Bastards by Andrew Schwartz next month. And moving back to some adult titles, getting towards the bottom of the Nebula freebie pile. This is a book coming out in October. The author is Nick Lake. It's called Satellite. You know, they're trying to push it to fans of The Martian to maybe have some of that mainstream crossover. But let's see. Moon 2 is a space station that orbits approximately 250 miles over Earth. It travels 17,500 miles an hour, making one full orbit every 90 minutes. It's also the only home that 15-year-old Leo and 2 other teens have ever known. Okay, well, maybe it is young. Well, who knows? Yeah, sounds like it, though. Okay, born and raised on Moon 2, Leo and the twins, Orion and Libra, how very hippie-ish, are finally old enough and strong enough to endure the dangerous trip to Earth. They've been parented by teams of astronauts since birth and have run countless drills to ready them for every conceivable difficulty they may face on the flight. But has anything really prepared them for life on terra firma? Because while the planet may be home to billions of people, living there is more treacherous than Leo and his friends could ever have imagined, and their very survival will mean defying impossible odds. Okay, interesting. Anyway, Satellite by Nick Lake. It comes out October the 3rd from Knopf. And here we have an arc pretty well in advance of the release. This is a new novel by Stephen R. Donaldson of Thomas Covenant fame, or infamy, depending on your attitude towards those books. This is called Seventh Decimate. And it's a new epic fantasy, first of something called The Great Gods' War. In a centuries-old war, sorcerers from both Beliger and Amika have brandished the 6 decimates against each other. But when the Amikans invoke a 7th decimate, one that strips all lesser sorcery of its power, the Beligrins stand defenseless. To reverse the fate of his land, Prince Befault, eldest son of the Belligrini king, is charged with finding a legendary sorcerer's library, but his dangerous quest will lead him to discover that there is a game being played by those far more powerful than he could ever imagine, and that he is nothing but a pawn. Okay, sounds fairly boilerplate, but anyway, if you're a fan, Stephen R. Donaldson, November 14th, it's called 7th Decimate. And last among the Nebula freebie pile that I'm going to be showing you, this is a new book by Kevin Hearn. Big chunky book by Kevin Hearn. It's called A Plague of Giants. It comes out October 17th from Del Rey. So, like I said, I expect to get this again at some point. This appears to be, because it's one of those where there's not much in the way of a synopsis, but what I get the impression of is that it's sort of like an epic fantasy variant of the whole premise behind Attack on Titan, right? You have this fantasy realm where I guess everybody is living their lives and getting along and doing their thing, and then giants show up and start doing giant things, and it's really bad. And they have to go to war with the giants, because it's a Plague of Giants. But anyway, so Kevin Hearn moves from UF to Epic Fantasy, and I guess we'll see how he does on October the 17th. So there we have it. That is most of, I left out maybe about, well, a ton of stuff I brought back, so I left out maybe about 7 or 8 things. But yeah, there we go. That is just from the Nebula goodie bag for this week's mailbag. So tell you what, let's take a little break, and then I will get into the proper mail for the last week and a half, shall we? I'll see you guys in a second. Okay, did everybody have a nice little break? Everybody go potty, get themselves a drink, do whatever it is you do, walk the dog. Anyway, all right, let's move on, shall we? This first package comes from HarperCollins. Okay, I'm quite happy to see this. This is Call of Fire. It's Beth Cato's sequel to this new sort of alternate history series. The first book was Breath of Earth. This one comes out August the 15th. It's set in San Francisco directly prior to the cataclysmic earthquake of 1906. And let's see. Originally a California girl with a penchant for... Oh, wait, no, that's talking about Beth. Silly me. Okay. And I don't want to read any more of this because literally the first sentence, which I stopped myself from reading, spoils the ending of Breath of Earth. But anyway, it deals, as you see, also with some, I think there's the Chinese culture that was, living in... the community that I meant to say, living in San Francisco at the time, and I guess it deals with magic and all that sort of thing. But anyway, okay, August the 15th, Call of Fire, the sequel to Breath of Earth. Time to get caught up reading. And next up, this is something from Inkshares Press. This is a book called The Punch Escrow. The author is Tal M. Klein. And let's see, and they're affiliated, I guess, Inkshares, Geek and Sundry, apparently. All right, this looks to be a near-future thriller. Well, not really near-future. Anyway, futuristic thriller. I'll just read it. There we go. It's the year 2147. Advancements in nanotechnology have enabled us to control aging. We've genetically engineered mosquitoes to feast on carbon fumes instead of blood, ending air pollution. How very clever. And teleportation has become the ideal mode of transportation offered exclusively by International Transport, a secretive firm headquartered in New York City. Their slogan, Departure, Arrival, Delight. Joel Byron is an average 22nd century guy. He spends his days training artificial intelligence engines to act more human, jamming out to 1980s new wave music, okay, and trying to salvage his deteriorating marriage. He's pretty much an everyday guy with everyday problems until he's accidentally duplicated while teleporting. Now Joel must outsmart the shadowy organization that controls teleportation, outrun the religious sect out to destroy it, and find a way to get back to the woman he loves in a world that now has 2 of him. Okay, cool. Let's see. Like I said, July 25th. I think it sounds like this could be a fun idea. So, The Punch Escrow, let me know in the comments. And next up, a random Penguin title. Okay, well, I just showed you the sequel, and now this is the paperback release of And I Darken, Kirsten White's first book about Lady Dracul, and this comes out tomorrow, the 30th, in paperback. So there you are. If you missed it in hardcover, and you want to read about, ladies impaling people, go for it. So, And I Darken in paperback. Mañana. And let's see what we have next. This is one from Simon & Schuster. Vacuum seal. I hate these. Oh, okay. This is a new middle grade. Comes out tomorrow. The author is Scarlett Thomas. And it's called Dragon's Green. And it's the first book in a new series called Worldquake. Okay. In Thomas's wondrous new realm, not me, Thomas, Scarlett Thomas, magic most decidedly exists, a growing evil lurks, and a group of children is destined to save the world. In a world where modern technology is extinct, Effie Truelove believes in magic, as does her grandfather, Griffin, although he refuses to do any magic. Man of principle, after a mysterious incident leaves Griffin close to death, Effie is given an unusual silver ring and told she must look after grandfather's library of rare and powerful books. But then the books fall into the hands of shady scholar Leonard LeVar. With a name like that, that motherfucker is shady AF. Nobody called Leonard LeVar is a man you should trust. And Effie is propelled into the most dangerous adventure of her life. Now Effie and her friends, nerdy Maximilian, rugby mad Wolf, helpful Lexi, and eccentric Raven, must discover their true powers if they are to get the books back, and Effie alone will have to travel to the other world, where she will uncover the true meaning of the strange old book called Dragon's Green. Okay, this sounds like it could be cute for young readers. So if you're a middle grade fan, or if you have a middle grade human in your life whom you think might like this, well, it is out tomorrow. Dragon's Green. All right, and coming up next, we're very shiny with the envelopes here, but you know what? It's kind of not too fun. It takes some of the guesswork away and the mystery away when they just tell you what it is on the envelope right here. It says Ruby, Emerald, Amethyst, Opal. The Queen's left hand are jewels among mortals, and as dangerous as death itself, Mask of Shadows. So I wonder if the book inside this envelope is going to be called The Fellowship of the Ring. Nope, it's Mask of Shadows, and here we are. The author is Lindsay Miller. This comes out from Source Books on, when does it happen? September 5th. So let me just, there's a few things in this envelope. But anyway, here's the book, as you see. Mask of Shadows features a character that isn't often seen in young adult literature. Sal Leon is gender fluid. Raised on the streets, Sal is an adept thief that ekes out a living on snatched purses and picked pockets while plotting revenge against the nobles that murdered their family. When Sal steals a poster announcing open auditions for The Left Hand, a powerful collection of the Queen's personal assassins, they know it's a chance for a new life. Except the audition is a fight to the death, filled with dangerous ex-soldiers, clever acrobats, and lethal apothecaries. Oh my goodness. Sal is hardly prepared for the trial, but must survive to put their real reason for auditioning into play: revenge. Perfect for fantasy fans who revel in the detail-rich worlds of, Sarah J. Maas and Leigh Bardugo. They always want, if you read the most popular people, that's who they want to sell the book to. Of course. First book in this thrilling duology. Features an unforgettable character who brings a new, fresh element to the young adult fantasy. Okay, Lindsay Miller, debut author, a biologist from Arkansas, has worked as a crime lab intern. Well, this comes out, like I said, September the 5th, Mask of Shadows, and there's something else in this envelope here. It's like there's just this little envelope taped shut. It's probably just like a... yeah, that's all it is. It's like a postcardy promo thing, but kind of nice, Audition begins August 29th and ends when only one is left alive. So this is like your golden ticket to participate in the audition, I guess. But cute. Okay. Alrighty then. Mask of Shadows, coming out in August. Moving on, we have another HarperCollins title. And this one is out June the 6th. It's Richard Kadri's The Kill Society. Onward he goes with his Sandman Slim series. Gosh, can I say anything about this? That won't spoil. Anyway, it's a very popular sort of apocalyptic sort of a UF series. But this one wants to appeal very much to Fury Road fans, it says. Or at least it indicates that. But okay, well, The Kill Society, continuing the adventures of Sandman Slim, coming out June the 6th. I just looked in the front. That's like the 9th Sandman Slim book. So it's one of those where if you're into it and you're committed enough to be 9 books in, then there you are. It's for you. Okay, who's this from? A Hachette title. And this is one I know a lot of folks are looking forward to. This is Tyrant's Throne. It's already out in the UK, but it comes out here on the 6th of June. And this is the final, at least the final in this particular series / story arc, in the Greatcoats series, which a lot of folks love. Gonna binge these really soon and probably do like a week-long special review thing. But here it is. Oh, cool. Happy to have the final version of this. This is Catherine Valente's The Refrigerator Monologues. And this is out in hardcover from Saga Press, little book, on the 6th of June. And it is, essentially, it is a take on the superhero genre from the point of view of the female side characters who are frequently killed in order to like motivate, you know, the heroes, as it were. You know, it's based on the whole women in fridges trope. But this is out, like I said, on June the 6th in hardcover from Saga Press by Catherine Valente, The Refrigerator Monologues. And a random Penguin title. This is Seek and Destroy. It's by William C. Dietz, and it is the sequel to Into the Guns, and it's the second volume in a new series of his called The America Rising series, and I guess it is, again, because no sell sheet, and I don't want to give away too many spoilers, but it is here it is, post-apocalyptic military science fiction about America struggling to overcome a natural disaster, but starting a second civil war. Yeah. Not a good situation to be in, but anyway, Seek and Destroy is a June title in hardcover from Ace Books. And this package contains a couple of books from Saga, paperbacks this time. First up here we have the finished copy of the bind-up of The Witch Who Came In From the Cold. This is another one of the serial box series that are now being collected here in full form. This one was sort of, I guess, masterminded by Lindsay Smith and Max Gladstone, with contributions from Cassandra Rose Clark, Ian Tregillis, cool, and Michael Swanwick. So that's a good set of names right there. But great powers eye each other across the Iron Curtain. Secret warriors wage secret wars, some with guns, some with words, and some with magic. CIA officer Gabe Pritchard has a mission to transport a critical defector back to the US, but Gabe also has a secret. On a job in Egypt, he stumbled into what he thought was a Soviet cell meeting, but Soviet cells don't have altars or sacrificial knives. Whoa. Now Gabe has splitting headaches, like there's something burrowing inside his skull, and finding help means joining a different and much colder war. Yep, never a good sign. But anyway, The Witch That Came In From the Cold is available June the 13th from Saga Press, and also in the same package. This is an arc. It comes out in November 7th, and this is Communication Failure by Joe Zaja. And it's the sequel to Mechanical Failure. It's a space opera, which is hailed as, you know, high comedy stuff. Please restart your warship harder. But let's see. In the sequel to Mechanical Failure, Captain Rogers, despite his best attempts to do otherwise, has become the acting admiral of the 331st Meriden Fleet, his first task worrying a lot. So it's, you know, space opera, military SF with a humorous bent. But Communication Failure, November the 7th, continues the saga. Yeah, we're moving on down the list, you guys. Here is another one from Harper. And this is the finished copy of The Prey of Gods. The author is Nikki Drayden. It comes out June the 13th. I've had this as an arc, and I'm really bumping it up the list because I'm hearing more and more buzz on Twitter from folks I admire saying this one is really, really good. It's a debut. Nikki Drayden has done a series of, I guess, highly thought of short fiction. And let's see, this one is set 50 years in the future. It takes place in South Africa where things are looking up. Personal robots make life easier for the working class. The government is harnessing renewable energy to provide infrastructure for the poor. In the bustling coastal town of Port Elizabeth, the economy is booming thanks to the genetic engineering industry, which has found a welcome home there. But, as with all things, there are quite a few negatives to balance out all these improvements. A new hallucinogenic drug is sweeping the country, an AI uprising is starting, and the ubiquitous personal robots everyone relies on are right at the forefront. And an ancient demigoddess hell-bent on regaining her former status is preying on the blood and sweat, but mostly blood of every human she encounters. That sounds bad. It's up to a young Zulu girl, powerful enough to destroy her entire township, a queer teen plagued with the ability to control minds, a pop diva with serious daddy issues, and a politician with even more serious mommy issues, to band together to ensure there's a future left to worry about. Good, it's inspired by Nikki Drayden's time spent in South Africa during her college years. And so yes, but again, I've heard really, really terrific things about this. Nikki Drayden will be in Austin for ArmadilloCon in August. I'm very excited about that. So that'll be cool. June the 14th, I think it said, from Harper Voyager. This next one comes from St. Martin's Press. This is one that's actually already out. It came out in May the 16th. It says it's a new epic fantasy debut. The author is Isabel Steiger. It's called The Empire's Ghost. And it says it weaves together the lives of the haves and have-nots, both desperately fighting to reassemble the remains of a fallen empire. It's perfect for fans of George R.R. Martin and Patrick Rothfuss, they say. Okay, the Empire of Elesthene, or Elesthene, once spanned a continent, but its rise heralded the death of magic. It tore itself apart from within, leaving behind a patchwork of kingdoms struggling to rebuild. But when a new dictator, leaving the ambitious and enigmatic Emperor Elgar, seizes power in the old capital and seeks to recreate the lost empire anew, the other kingdoms have little hope of stopping him. Prince Kelkin of Reglay finds himself at odds with his father at his country's darkest hour. The Marquis of Ethrades, there we are, is unmatched in politics and strategy, but she sits at a staggering, the Marquess, I guess. She sits at a staggering military disadvantage, and Samira, the most powerful of the free countries, has shut itself off from the conflict, thrown into confusion by the disappearance of its crown prince and the ensuing struggle for succession. So it sounds like it's, a very world-building heavy, epic fantasy of that sort. All right, so The Empire's Ghost by Isabel Steiger. It is out now. Okay, second to last package, everybody, and this one is in a white envelope, probably a Tor release. It is a Tor release, and it's one that makes me quite happy to see. It's a new novel by Kit Reed, an author that I really admire, and one that I think is probably not on a lot of people's radar, while she should be. But this is a chilling new supernatural tale. It comes out tomorrow on the 30th. It's called More Mama. More Mama, or, Anyway, it says, Del Duval has been living on the street since his accident. He can't remember who he was or where he came from. All he has is a tattered note in his pocket with an address for the Ellis House, a sprawling ancient residence in Jacksonville. He doesn't know why he's been sent here. In the house, Lane and her son Theo have returned to the ancient family home, their last resort. The old house is ruled by an equally ancient trio of tyrannical aunts who want to preserve everything. Nothing should ever leave the house, including Lane. Something about the house isn't right. Things happen to the men and boys living there. There are forces at work, one of which visits Theo each night. More Mama. One mama too many. Okay. Maybe like that Jessica Chastain film, Mama, right? Maybe. But I don't know. Kit Reed, very, very smart and very creative author. And this, like I said, comes out tomorrow from Tor Books, A Little Tale of the Supernatural, More Mama. And I've saved the biggest for last, everybody. This is a big old random penguin package with quite a few items in it, so let's just start digging. Okay, 3 items in this envelope. They look pretty exciting. This one's interesting, though, to see. Mass market paperback from Daw, so I guess a June title. It's called Sovereign Silk, and it's the 3rd volume in a series by Elizabeth Gilligan called Silken Magic. And if memory serves, because I have seen these earlier books, although I haven't, read them yet, the first couple of books are Magic's Silken Snare and then another one, obviously. But as I recall, those came out years ago. So this is Daw, with allowing an author to continue a series, even though there are many, many years of gaps between volumes. But, well, good for the author, I suppose. But it says it weaves fantasy, herbalism, history, romance, and murder into a complex and intriguing pattern. The very future of Tyria is endangered when assassins target Alban, the beloved king, while his wife, Queen Adala, lies on the brink of death after giving birth to quadruplets whose conception was marked by dark magic. With the king and queen's firstborn son far too young to assume the throne should the worst befall, all 5 children will end up in the care of the queen's brother, Duke Stefano, and his Romani Duchessa Luciana, who are expecting their own fairy-blessed child. So, that kind of, I guess, court intrigue fantasy, but Sovereign Silk. And next up we have Tanya Huff's newest military SF novel. This is A Peace Divided, and it is the 2nd book in a Peacekeeper series, of the first of which I'm quite sure I own, and is in a pile somewhere. And last but by no means least for this week's epic mailbag, this is one that looks very interesting. The author is Anne Corlett. It's called The Space Between the Stars. And let's see, it goes something like this. When the world ends, where will you go? A breathtakingly vivid and emotionally gripping debut novel. One woman must confront the emptiness of the universe and in her own heart. When a devastating virus reduces most of humanity to dust and memories. Oh dear. All Jamie Allenby ever wanted was space. Even though she wasn't forced to emigrate from Earth, she willingly left the overpopulated, claustrophobic planet. And when a long relationship devolved into silence and suffocating sadness, she found work on a frontier world on the edges of civilization. Then the virus hit. And then the Fire Nation attacked. I'm just kidding. And now Jamie finds herself dreadfully alone with all that's left of the dead, until a garbled message from Earth gives her hope that someone from her past might still be alive. Okay. So anyway, yeah, debut novel, Space Between the Stars. Anne Corlett is the author, and I guess it comes out either this week, because again, no actual sell sheet this week, or the next. So there you are. Well, my goodness, you guys. That was it. I promised you a huge week, and that's what you got. All right, so you know the drill. Light up those comments. Let me know which of these looks most interesting and exciting to you. I hope you've been taking notes, because there is a lot to keep track of this week. And let me know which of these you want me to prioritize for review. Otherwise, if you enjoyed watching, slam that like button, share this video with everybody on this earth. And above all, please subscribe if you have not done so. That's how SFF180 grows. You can also support the channel at my TeePublic store and on Patreon. My Patreon supporters, love you very much. You help make things possible. For only $2 a month, you can be part of Wink's army. Get to see all my videos one day early, or one night early at the very least. Thank you all to those people. Thank you all to you guys for being viewers and being supporters and subscribers. And until I see you all next time, happy reading.